4th and goal to go to 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
So I was talking about this here. I was talking about the contract years. We got quite a few guys because if we don't, let's not forget, right? In 2022, we had what was it? I think 1,847 draft picks. So we got a lot of guys. Now we know that Kayvon's not in the contract year because we picked up his 5th-year option. Then I think there's 2 guys. And that certainly doesn't mean the rest of the guys in that draft class are actually going to want to make the team, like maybe Joshua Ezeudu. Now he might want to maybe going on the practice squad, who knows? But and DJ Davidson, Jordan Riley, not that Jordan Riley was in that draft class, but DJ Davidson, right? He may not make the fit because we brought in a few guys from free agents for that defensive line, right? But we got a lot of guys, especially this dude right here, right? On some contract years. So where are we at here? Where is my? Here we are. There we go. All right. Oh, let me share my screen. Where are we at here? Share the screen. Okay, there we go. We'll go. I mean, this the big draft class here. Here we go. Here we go. Now, of course, the 2 guys at the bottom aren't on the team anymore. I'm a little disappointed. Not in Darian Beavers, not disappointed, but a little bummed out because I'm not seeing maybe what he could do because he got injured. And if you ever listen to Big Blue Kickoff Live, I try to listen to them certainly during the season because those guys they work. I think they're employed for the Giants, so they're there every day. They see what's going on. They're there even days when the media is not there, so they know what's going on. And Paul Dottino, he's been with the Giants, I think he said 43 seasons. He's been with the Giants, I think, since 83, I think it was. Before his 3rd season. Yeah, so maybe 1983, Parcells' first season. They were 3-12-1. So Paul Dottino's been there a long time. He's seen everybody. But with Darian Beavers, because when he got injured, Paul Dottino said it was a pretty significant injury, and he just wasn't able to come back from it, at least, and save his roster spot. But, of course, Marcus McKethan, right, he's no longer on the team. But if you look at all these other guys, right, I said we start here, right? DJ Davidson, Micah McFadden. I mean, what a fantastic 5th-round pick. Let me tell you what. Dane Belton, right? We got our 2 starting safeties, but Belton is a fine backup. Not that he's not an all-pro or nothing like that. The guy gets around the ball, right? Daniel Bellinger, we're going to be talking about him in a little bit. Cordale Flott, now he's going to be battling out quite possibly for the 2nd cornerback spot with Banks, right? Of course, Joshua Ezeudu, Wan'Dale Robinson. As I said, now we do know we picked up Kayvon's 5th-year option, so we got him for this year and next year. But Evan Neal. Now, Evan Neal, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If somehow the Giants do not wind up re-signing him after they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So, but some team out there is going to pick him up. There ain't no doubt about it. The Giants let him go. Somebody's going to pick Evan Neal up. And if Evan Neal does wind up going to a team that has a good offensive line coach or whatever that can teach him proper technique and all that stuff, and everything, I'm sure he's going to do like Micah Becton. He went to the Eagles and he won himself a Super Bowl and he had himself a pretty darn good year. When he was with the Jets, he didn't play too well, quite possibly up to his capabilities. He got injured a lot, but of course, when he goes to the Eagles, he didn't get injured at all, and he had himself a fantastic season. So with Evan Neal, if the Giants don't bring him back after this season, he's going to go to somebody else is going to pick him up. There's only so many sequoia trees on the face of the earth. There's only so many guys, 6'7", whatever his weight, I don't know, 340, I'm not sure. There's only so many guys like that. Okay. And he was a first round pick. He was picked 7 in the draft, and he came from Alabama. Right? There's only so many guys like this walking the earth. He's going to get picked up. Somebody's going to pick him up. Now, the thing is, of course, so that's a given. He's going to get picked up. But he's going to want to try to perform well this season. Obviously, they all do. It's not nobody goes into a season. Well, this year I'm going to suck, and then I'm going to try to pick it up next season. No, I mean everybody obviously goes into each season, right? But Evan Neal's got some motivation on his side this year. They're giving him a chance at guard, okay, and see if he can, get himself a spot in the starting 5, because that right guard spot we don't know, right tackle we don't really know, right? But if Evan Neal, doesn't get re-signed by the Giants, somebody's going to pick him up. And I said, if he goes to a place that has a good offensive line coach, I'm sure they'll make Evan Neal look very respectable. Not saying they can turn him into a Hall of Famer or maybe even All Pro, but I say he also with Evan Neal too. Last season, according to PFF, it's all I'm going by, right? He was our best run blocking offensive lineman. I can't remember. I think it was zone blocking. I think he graded out his run blocking was like a 90. Okay. There was the gap in the zone. I think it was the zone. I think his gap block might have been like a little, obviously it was less than that. But the two schemes, the run blocking put together, he graded out at 80 overall as run blocking. I mean, he was just straight up mauling some guys in the run blocking last year. His pass protection still needed to be, a little bit to be desired. But then again, he was playing on the outside. Maybe where he needs to slide on the inside, where he can be more of in a phone booth, right? A guy right in front of him, right? So maybe with that might, help his numbers. His pass protection might get better. But last season, he's fantastic in the run. So, I mean, if the Giants don't re-sign him, somebody's going to pick him up for sure. Of course, then we got, Wan'Dale Robinson. Let me time to highlight him. Dude, I think it was 93 receptions last year. He's been healthy. He's starting to come back. I mean, obviously, his first season, he got injured right away. Well, not right. Well, actually, I think he caught his first pass was against the Titans, and he got injured. When he came back, he was having a very good game against the Lions. Then he got injured. He was out the rest of the season. Now, a lot of times they say, like with your knee or when you get injured, sometimes it takes you a little while to come back. But last season, he caught 93 balls. The problem was his yards per catch was not very good. Not very good at all. So hopefully we can find ways to get him the ball and he can get some yak yardage, or his yards per catch can go up. But we'll have to wait and see. So it's going to be interesting to say. I mean, we don't have anybody per se in the slot, right, who can maybe replace him. So it's going to be interesting to see, are the Giants going to re-sign him? We have some money next season. Now, if we also resign some of these guys, you resign some of them to in 2 years, we're going to have some money, right? Next season, we have some, but in 2 years, we got a lot of money. So if we can bring back some of these guys that on the contract years, what you do is if you sign them to say, I'm just throwing a number out there, $10 million, next season, you try to sign them for maybe where their contract only hits the books for maybe $4 million. Or $5 million or so, and you push some of that money down the road when we will have money, right? So Wan'Dale Robinson, you certainly can replace the guy, but you know what you can get out of him. I mean, he had over 90 catches last year. So I said, Joshua Ezeudu, we don't even know if this guy's going to make the roster or not. Is he going to be the starting? The starting, not the starting, but maybe the 9 or so offensive linemen that make the 53-man roster. he going to be part of that? Don't know. Then, of course, there is the practice squad, though. So he might land on the practice squad. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't. He's in a contract year. Not exactly sure. I mean, what he's put on his resume so far for the Giants has not been super spectacular. Right? So I don't even know if the Giants are going to even entertain trying to bring him back. Don't know. Cordale Flott. Now, with Mr. Flott here, right, Mr. Beanpole, he hasn't done too bad. His problem is he's thin and it can be injury prone. But if the Giants can bring him back, I mean, even if he's not the starter, right, that's some good depth behind Banks. Now, but it's going to be interesting to see, obviously, going forward in training camp, right? That cornerback number 2, right? You got Flott and Banks going to duke it out. So who's going to be the winner? But I'm saying, even if Flott doesn't wind up being the starter, he's good backup if he can stay healthy. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, regardless of the Giants bringing him back, it's going to be a big season for Flott because contract year. So he's going to want to look, obviously, as I said, once again, nobody goes into a season, well, I'll play 50-50, kind of good, kind of bad. No, I mean, obviously everybody, but we all know that when it's a contract year, these guys have a little bit more motivation to play a little bit better. Right, so wouldn't be surprised if Flott really played well this year. Once again, if he can stay healthy. Now we're going to talk about Daniel Bellinger a little. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but a little toward the end of the program here, right? But we're going to talk about him, biceps Bellinger, right? It's a contract year for him. We got, I don't know how many tight ends we're going to keep on the 53. We're going to keep 3. We're going to keep 4. And we got some tight ends, but I mean, Bellinger, who started off kind of like up here, is kind of like, the second year we had Waller. So, of course, Bellinger took a back seat to Waller. Then Waller retired. And then last season, Bellinger took a back seat to Theo Johnson. We got Manhurts as our blocker. And we just drafted Thibodeaux. And for all intents and purposes, Thibodeaux, I mean, I'd have a hard time. You just draft Thibodeaux this year, I have a hard time thinking they're going to be putting Thibodeaux on no practice squad. So maybe we might keep 4 tight ends. We'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be an interesting season for Bellinger. But I'm going to be talking about him a little bit later. And, of course, then we got Dane Belton, right? Now it's going to be interesting for him because obviously he's never really carved out a role unless somebody got injured as far as a starter. Now we got Newman and we got Holland. So unless somebody gets injured, which let's hope not, Belton once again is going to be probably the third wheel. Unless they have a 3 safety, right, formation, right? Belton might be the third safety. Belton might be on the field, but other than that, for the most part, Belton might, if somebody gets injured. If somebody's got, like we saw McKinney a couple seasons ago, play what, every snap. So if you get like Holland, if he's doing real well and all, same thing with Newman, they may not come off the field at all. It's not like, we have the defensive line rotation or the edge rusher rotation or something like that. Yeah, give this guy a blow or something like that. No, if safeties, they just stay on the field, right? There's no left tackle rotation, If Andrew Thomas is out there and he's healthy, guess what? Andrew Thomas is playing every snap all year long, right? So Belton is there, unless somebody gets injured or if they have a 3-man, 3 safety, right? Formation on defense, well, then he'll be on the field. But it's going to be interesting to see, because it always takes 2 to tango. Maybe you want Belton back, but Belton might be like, well, they got Newman and they have Holland. So no matter what, I'm going to be the third safety at best. Let me see if I can go someplace maybe where I can play. It'll be interesting. Yeah, he's not going to require a ton of money. Do the Giants want to, or do the Giants, want to try to maybe replace him in the draft? You can try to replace him. See, they drafted him in the 4th round. Okay, maybe the Giants, they bring in another safety, or maybe the Giants could, in the 4th round next year, whatever, draft a safety to replace him. So that'll be interesting to see. And of course, then the last 2 guys, I'll go to DJ Davidson now. He may not even make the roster. He might want it maybe on the practice squad, because you got like with him and Jordan Riley, Now we brought in some other guys, right? We brought in quite a few guys for the defensive line. So Davidson may not be one that may not make it, or if he does, hold on, get out of this. These freaking ads are unbelievable. Yeah. So DJ Day, he might want himself on the practice squad. He may not even make the practice. We'll have to wait and see, right? But I don't really know. Can't really see the Giants trying to, make him a top priority to try to bring him back. I said he may not even make the team. But that'll be interesting to see, right? That's going to be one of those, the second and third team starters or whatever that'll be battling out to make the 53, or if not the 53, making the practice squad. So Davidson, he's got his work cut out for him this year. And then we got this guy, the guy, of course, is on the thumbnail of this video, Micah McFadden, right? His snaps are going to go down this year, right, without question, because of with the Abdul Carter. Because if you got, you got Sexy's out there, you got Burnsy out there, you got Kayvon. You want to get Carter out there with those guys, right? There might be some type of a formation where they have with Carter, right? Where maybe they slide Kayvon in the one tackle. They got Dexter on over the nose, the center. But then you got Burns on the edge and you got Carter on the edge. You got those 4 guys like the NASCAR package on certain formations where those 4 guys can do their thing, right? And then if you got something like that, then you have a Karake, right? And then you'll have McFadden still on the field. But McFadden, see, this is going to be interesting. McFadden's he has shown enough where he's on film where he can be a full-time starting linebacker. How much, because of with the addition of Carter, how much does McFadden's snaps take a hit? Right, and the Giants going to want to try to bring McFadden back because he won't be, he'll play, but how much will his snaps decrease because of the addition of Carter? Now it might be the same thing with McFadden. It might be like I'm going to stop sharing the screen here. Now it might be the same thing with with McFadden. It's like I played a lot with the Giants, right? I know I can what I can do, right? They added Carter, and I had this many snaps. Now I'm with Carter, and I lost 300 snaps last season because of Carter. Do I want to go back with the Giants and get whatever 500 snaps in the season? Because as long as Carter's out there, and those other guys, that's all I'm going to get, about 500 snaps, right? We don't want to go someplace else where maybe I can be a full-time middle linebacker. So it's going to be one of those things. It's going to take 2 to tango with McFadden, but somebody certainly worth keeping an eye on. That's for darn sure. I mean, as I said, do the Giants try to bring him back? Right? That was a good draft pick right there for Shane McFadden, late round pick. Now, let me see here. Hold on. Where are we at? I got to find this here. And Bellinger. Yep. Oh, I had it. I do apologize. I had the how much. I'm gonna look it up here in Spot Track here. Here we go, salary cap. Okay, spot track. Okay, so the Giants. All right, where are we at here? 2026. So next season, according to spot track, it's all I'm going by. As of right now, the Giants have about $19 million in cap space. Not a lot of money. Okay. But as far as trying to bring back a lot of these guys, now they can always do stuff with salaries and stuff, push money down the road and all of that to bring back some of these guys. But we don't have a ton of money. All right. But in 2027, right, like when Jameson Winston's off the books, Russell Wilson's off the books, maybe Jackson Dart is our starting quarterback who's making minimal amount of money, right? 2027, the Giants are, as of right now, have $155 million in salary cap space, as you know, according to spot track, right? If I go to overcap, they'll have a different number, right? But so next season, we don't have a ton of money. In 2 seasons, we're going to have over $150 million, baby. Yeah. So if the Giants were to bring back some of these guys who are on contract years, right? One of the things might be like if they sign him to, like, say, McFadden, same, whatever. I'm just throwing a number out there. 3 years, $24 million. Just throwing a number out there. So at $8 million a season. Well, it would be really behoove the Giants, right, to try to figure it out where next season McFadden only goes like, we'll say, maybe $4 million toward the cap. And he would be, what, $20 million toward the cap the next 2 seasons when the Giants have more money. So the Giants have a lot, especially on defense. We got, a lot of those guys coming back, right? We got, Karakay, right? We got Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Alexander, Golston, Burns, Kayvon for 2 more years, Banks for a couple more years, right? Obviously Phillips, because we just drafted him. We got Debo for 3 years. We got Holland for 3 years. We got Newman for 3 more years. So we got a lot of guys on the defense for multiple years, right? It would be nice to keep McFadden, because, as I said, once again, you could try to replace him. Right? I'm not saying he's a Hall of Fame or all pro and all like that, but he's a good quality guy to have on the team. So, and he's tough as now. I mean, he obviously has his issues, He's very good going downhill and all of that, but, he has his issues. But, I mean, he's a good player to have. Good player to have. So, we always know when it's a contract year for guys, usually they really play pretty well. So, you saw all those guys that the Giants had in that 2022 draft class. There's still a lot of them on the team. So, got a lot of guys that, gonna want to get paid next season. So, we'll have to keep an eye on stuff like that.